Hello, everybody. My name is Tafara Jairosi, and for this research project, I was examining URM and female students' experiences in STEM fields to understand how to increase their attention and participation in such fields. So, to start out, why is this even being studied? Well, the acronym URM that I use for stands for underrepresented minorities. And the three groups of people that fit under that label are African Americans, Hispanics, and Native Americans. And historically and to this day, they have not been represented or retained in STEM fields. In total, African Americans make up 9%, Hispanics 8%, and Native Americans less than 1% of all the STEM professionals in the United States. To try to find a reason for this issue, I looked at the psychosocial factors of sense of belonging and self-efficacy, along with other psychological factors like the effects of stereotypes among URM and female individuals. To explain what is sense of belonging and self-efficacy. Sense of belonging is someone's feelings of acceptance in a community by their peers. And self-efficacy is a person's confidence in their ability to perform a task. For this research project, I used mentorship as a possible solution in improving the self-efficacy and sense of belonging amongst URM and women in STEM. And an example of the way mentorship can be used to combat this issue would be through mentorship programs like Talaria, which matches you with the mentee. And that's an example of a structured program, but there's also unstructured mentorship programs or in different mentorship styles, such as skills-based mentorship, socio-emotional mentorship, ethnic matching, and gender matching. Along with the main prompt of figuring out why there's such a racial and gender gap in STEM fields, I also looked at the two questions of what factors influence URM and female decisions to enter certain STEM fields, and does having the same ethnic or gender matched mentors influence URM and female individuals' sense of belonging and self-efficacy. To start with what factors deter women away from certain STEM fields, I looked at the study by Cherian et al., which looked at the effects of stereotypes on the men and women in engineering, computer science, and physics, which are primarily male-dominated fields. The results of this study showed that the stereotypes towards the men in the fields and the stereotypes against the women greatly impacted the decision to join these fields. To explain, the stereotypes put onto the men in the three fields of engineering, computer science, and physics commonly did not align with how women viewed themselves, which caused a disconnect in their ability to see themselves and view themselves as being a part of these fields. And the stereotypes against women are commonly ones that demean their ability, to be that they're good at science, calling them incompetent or not as great as men as in math, which put them down and lowered their self-efficacy. Another factor that influences women is the idea of levels of effort exertion. Commonly, women believe that they need to exert more effort in order to succeed compared to their male counterparts. Women also more commonly believe that their success is purely due to hard work rather than their innate genius or any inherent skill. While men are more likely to say, I'm good at something, or I've gotten to this level of success because it's something I was inherently born with. Because of this, women commonly exclude themselves from STEM disciplines, especially those dominated by men, as they don't believe that they have what it takes to be able to succeed. When it comes to the stereotypes and factors on URM, African Americans as well as Hispanic individuals are commonly seen as less competent than their white and Asian peers in STEM disciplines. A study by Eaton et al. was conducted to see how these stereotypes influence URM instructors, mentors, or employers' view of them. And this was done through different sending CVs to various STEM professionals and professors across the United States. And these CVs were sent with the question of how hireable or how competent do you believe these individuals to be? And though every CV that was sent with like the experiences that were listed were exactly the same, the one difference was the names at the top of the CVs that were given were stereotypical of a certain race or ethnicity to kind of mock that this CV was from a Black person, this CV was from an Asian person, though it was all, though the CVs were not real. And what was concluded from this study was that for the CVs that were given stereotypically white or Asian names were deemed more competent and more hireable than those given a Black or Hispanic name, even though they were all exactly the same. These results show that it's not only the URM individuals themselves that should be addressed when talking about the impact of stereotypes, but those that they work and involve themselves with to inform the way that both parties view underrepresented minorities. So when it comes to using mentorship as a possible solution for this issue, one of the first styles I looked into was ethnic matching. And when researching ethnic matching, I found that there were very mixed conclusions on its effectiveness on URM students. Like, for example, some would say that it does, some papers would say that it does influence academic performance, while others would say that it's not. However, one constant I did come across was that it was always viewed as very important amongst URM, more so than non-URM students. It's also seen to improve science identity, but as I said before, not academic performance. And in viewing these and analyzing these varied data of the benefits and the impacts of ethnic matching, I began to think of maybe what it should be used for and what its benefits lie in is the representation and the diversity that it gives URM students. And the way I looked at that was through analyzing scientific spotlights, which are homework assignments that can be given to students, which this which which makes them read about a certain scientist, which is of a certain ethnic minority or gender minority, and it essentially just expands the horizon to more diverse group of scientists than just a typical Isaac Newton or Albert Einstein. And so in looking at these scientific spotlights, they were seen to increase not only the academics of the students given these homework assignments, but also the students' relatability to various sciences, making them able to see themselves in the sciences, in the scientists and what they do. The next type of mentorship I looked into was gender matching. And I did this through looking at a study by Cannon and Bogin, which put women undergraduate students, sorry about my cat, into two groups, one that got a female mentor and one that received a those who received a male mentor. And for the women who received a female mentor, 10% of them enrolled in a STEM major, while those that received a male mentor, only 5.3% enrolled in a STEM major. For the women who received a female mentor, there were 8.5% more likely to graduate with a STEM degree, while those with a male mentor were 4.2% likely to graduate. And those with a female mentor were also 8.4% less likely to fail their science courses. Well, and unfortunately, there's no data for the male mentors. Along with that, the study also showed that through giving women a female match mentor, there's a 77% decrease in the STEM enrollment gap between male and female students. In addition to ethnic matching and gender matching, there's also other mentorship styles such as skills-based and socio-emotional. Skills-based mentoring, as the name suggests, helps to develop the social and life skills to help students to develop the social and life skills needed to succeed in a career, while socio-emotional mentorship primarily assists in giving the mentee emotional and social support. For skills-based mentorship, it primarily improves students' research and academics, and for socio-emotional, it helps to define the academic and career goals of the students. Now, when looking at all the different papers and all the different research that's been conducted in the past, I also wanted to look at what could possibly be looked further into and what gaps of research there is for future research in the research in the past, and that could be research in the future. Now, some of these ideas was for there to be more research on the inconsistency in ethnic matching, as well as the perception of benefits of ethnic matching should be on the diversity it provides, rather than the quantifiable results like improved self-efficacy or better grades. Along with this, also having additional research onto what specific benefits there are to gender matching in comparison to ethnic matching, as gender matching was seen to improve the enrollment of women in STEM and also their grades, while ethnic matching wasn't seen to do any of that. So how are these? Why does gender matching produce such positive results? Else, nothing would be valuable for there to be more research exploring how the intersection of race and gender affects psychosocial factors, stereotypes, mentorship. For example, like the difference between how Black women or Black men are affected in their self-efficacy or sense of belonging, and how stereotypes affect them, and how mentorship can value between, the example of the two groups. Along with this, also including Native Americans and more research on increasing URM participation in STEM, as though they are one of the three groups included in URM. In most of the research papers I read, they were never addressed or brought up. So even though they are less than 1% of all STEM professionals, that percentage won't go up if they're not included in the conversation. And lastly, combining mentorship styles to make them more effective. So like the skills-based and social-emotional mentorship styles discussed before, possibly seeing if combining them to target both, academics and the mentees' mental, if that will have a more positive effect than targeting each separately. All right. And for a conclusion, quick summary. There are many psychological factors influencing URM and female students in pursuing and maintaining a career in STEM. Stereotypes have a strong effect in damaging the sense of belonging and self-efficacy of URM in women, and ethnic and gender matching show the value of representation and diversity for both URM and women in STEM. Thank you.